Hello and welcome back to the live coverage of the Asian Winter Series. It's actually just minutes away. Stay with us and see you on the grid. 即将进行的呢是亚洲冬季系列赛第8回合的比赛。我们马上在赛道上见。And welcome back. And in the morning's race, and Ye Yifei takes the lead. And you can see from the grid, and now he is only 19 points behind the Reynolds Vicky on the overall championship. And now you can see it's very interesting because Ye Yifei and the Reynolds Vicky are both lying at the front of the grid. So the starting of the race is going to be really interesting to look at. And 那么呢，我们在今天早上的比赛当中呢，叶一飞呢是取得的冠军，而且他只有19分的差距，在 Reynolds VK 的后面，拿到年度的总冠军。现在也可以看到呢，两辆车都是排在了前排在发车的位置，所以这场比赛的在开始的部分一定会非常的有趣。
And what a race we had for the first of the 3 races here in the last round of the Asian Winter Series. Great start. Jack Doohan, the young Australian, tried to make a move to go around Pole City EFA, but wasn't able to do it. There's plenty of action as the race wore on. This was on, well, it was very early in the race, and we had a safety car intervention on the restart. Ye Yifei extended his lead again. He set about doing what he needed to do. The big move. This VK had moved up to position 3, the championship points leader. He was sitting quite comfortably, and then that went a little bit pear-shaped for the Dutch driver as he was battling with the other contender for the championship coming into this round. Of course, that was Alessandro Gueretti. But up front, he did it right from the start, and he's been untroubled so far. Ye Yifei for Absolute Racing just drove away from the field again. And that was a nice opportunity. This incident saw Akash Nandi being penalised post-race, but unfortunately it was the end of him and the man who started on the front row. Then this was the big one. Really? Well, Alessandro Gueretti, you could argue perhaps there wasn't an opportunity there to make a move, but he's in the championship hunt. It was really everything he could do to try and get past one of his title rivals, and that, of course, was Reynolds VK. Unfortunately for Gueretti, he was out, but Reynolds was able to come back through and managed to cross the line in position 6. But there's an interesting development with respect to all of that. We'll get to that shortly. No one denying the winner of the race. Ye Yifei crossed the line position 1 from Jack Doohan, and that was a good start for them.
叶一飞，那么你在第一场比赛当中的速度非常的快，有什么秘诀吗？而且就是这一场比赛的你的在有什么一些特殊的和第一场不一样的一些技术吗？
我的策略和第一场比赛一样，想办法在起步的时候取得领先，然后尝试刚开始时候带开，然后完赛，希望能成功带回第一。
好的，谢谢啊。I just asked Ye Yifei, is there any different approach from the previous race? He gonna use this race, and he said he gonna try to use the same strategy, try to take the lead from the start, and try to get another win.
Well, that's interesting to see exactly what his approach would be, because certainly he was very much on the defensive in that first race, but he's closed that 29-point lead down to 19 points. So he needs to take the same approach he had in the first race. Every time he faced the starter, he disappeared off into the distance. So very much a strong approach, but you could tell from the body language that he was really focused on the job at hand, not so much on answering questions sitting on the grid. So let's just see how that one plays out. It's going to be very, very interesting. Just 19 points in it. This race, 25 points. Also, the second race, or the third race of the weekend, that will go down to 25 points as well. Still 50 points left in this championship, and only 19 between positions 1 and positions 2 as we go into the second race of the weekend.
Hi, Reynolds. Is this race 1 result going to change your approach for this race?
No, just get everything out of it and do the best I can. I'm starting second now, so hopefully challenge for the win in this race, and then we see how the championship goes.
Okay, thank you. 我刚刚问他呢，他在第一场比赛当中呢，他的结果会不会影响他这一场的发挥？他说呢，很遗憾，第一场比赛呢没有，就是有这个非常的竞争非常的激烈。那么他也希望这一场比赛能取得一个好的结果。
So for Rinus VK, well, he's got a little bit of work to do, but he's holding the advantage. He's 19 points up at the moment on his rival. They both start on the front row, and that will make things very, very interesting. What can he do? I mean, he has the advantage. 19 points is a big advantage. The difference between winning and second is a deficit of 7 points. So that is something he will be taking into consideration. There is Jack Doohan, son of 5-time Australian 500cc Grand Prix motorcycle world champion Mick Doohan. So he certainly did a very good job. So sounds like we might have Feline down there with the young man we're just talking about, Jack Doohan.
Hi, Jake. How did you enjoy your opening race?
Yeah, no, it was good. But now that's all in the past. Now I just focus on this one, try and get another good start, and yeah, hopefully challenge for the win this time.
Good luck with the race. Yeah. 刚刚我问到他呢，他对自己的这个在这个比赛当中的开场有什么样的一个评价？他说他非常的喜欢自己的表现，也希望在今天呢，在接下来的比赛当中呢，取得一个更好的成绩。
Certainly one of the challenges for young drivers is to deal not just with the pressures of learning a new car in many cases, but also the fact that they are faced with the lovely Feline Wang down on the grid. You are asked questions when your brain is very much attuned to what this race is going to provide. Victor Martin's on screen. The Frenchman made his debut in the championship in race 1, the Asian Winter Series, and did a very good job across the line in position number 3. So the grid positions aren't reflective of the finishing positions of the first race. They're reflective of the lap times, the best lap times from each of the driver. And the fact that Ye Yifei is back on pole position, 2:01.15, his best lap turned in the early stages of the first race. And Rinus VK position 2 at 2:01.91, 0.8 of a second. I mean, there was a big advantage. Ye Yifei really did put himself in a position where he's able to drive away from the pack. So we're not too far from getting the cars out in the grid. They will do their best to get temperature into those controlled GT tyres and take that Tata chassis with the Alfa Romeo turbocharged 1750cc engine. 270 horsepower, 350 newton meters of torque, which is pretty serious. Getting that off the line in a package that's just 650 kilos, including driver. That's minimum weight. Of course, it'll start heavier with fuel. So getting very, very interesting. Certainly the temperatures will be rising. We're into the low 30s, still high humidity, but it'll be all go very, very soon. Further down the field, car number 29, Akash Nandi, we saw involved in that contact that took out front row starter Ishan Pires, who will start from position 6 in this race. And there was a penalty delivered from that. Now, what's interesting too is that the drivers who finished in about positions, well, not about, but certainly the drivers, Jack Doohan, who finished in position 2, Victor Martin's in position 3, they were able to record results which gave them a strong finishing position, but they're not up for championship points. So despite the fact he crossed the line in position 6, Rinus VK inherits the 3rd position points. So that's why the deficit was only 10 points. Initially we were recording it could have been, well, he may have only recorded 10 points and it would have lost 19 points to his title rival, Ye Yifei. The two of them over 7 races have shared the wins. Ye Yifei made his 3rd win of the season this morning. And of course, Rinus VK, position number 6, takes 3rd points, and he has 4 wins so far for this year.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
And let's go indeed. Formation lap. Oh, that's not good news. The Pinnacle cars are stopped on the grid. And that's going to create a little bit of drama. No, got going. That is good news. So not the start we wanted to see. We'll work out who that is based on the livery. Anyway, here's your starting positions. Ye Fei from Absolute Racing. Shown as French, that's the licence he runs under, but of course very much a passionate Chinese driver. There's a lot of racing in Europe. Jack Doohan and Victor Martins on the road too. Of course, Rinus VK, the championship points leader, starting from position 2 off the front road. Alessandro Gueretti, unfortunately involved in that incident with Rinus in that first race, alongside the man who started second this morning, Ishan Peres. Unfortunately, he got wiped out in that incident with Akash Nandi coming through turn 15. Tomoki Takahashi and Pavan Ravichanka, the fourth of the drivers for High Tech Grand Prix on the 4th row. 5th row, Akash Nandi and Joey Alders, another of the drivers making a debut for the Black Arts Racing team based there in Zhuhai. Big supporters of the development of young talent in open wheelers and other categories too across Asia. Christian Lundgaard and Charles Leong was a surprise addition at the last minute for the Black Arts Racing team. Miki Koyama, she's got some good credentials too, racing for the BMAX Racing team, of course, of Ryoshi Yoshida, the BMAX Racing team. Toriko Yamaguchi for BMAX, and alongside Vivienne Kiste, she is further back in the field and has been working very strongly in this championship. And of course, this is good, valuable miles. This is off-season for most of the world. It's the winter series. Yeah, temperatures are in the low 30s. It's hardly winter, but this is winter in Malaysia. It's what makes this championship so attractive, is the conditions are very warm. This is very much like a European summer. Humidity, obviously, a little bit higher, but it is an opportunity for drivers to turn laps in an off-season where you're very much snowbound for most of the European winter. There's not much testing going on up there, so it's a good opportunity for many drivers. And we've seen drivers like 2-time Macau Grand Prix champion Dan Ticktum from the Red Bull operation. He was involved in the championship early in the piece, but he, like David Schumacher, the son of Ralf Schumacher, so we've had Ralf Schumacher here, we've had Mick Doohan here. It's been a real class act in the paddock over the course of the last couple of events. They have been committed to their programs in Europe, so have gone back to Europe to start preparing for the season ahead. And that's allowed other drivers to step in. Charles Leong is another driver who's managed to step in this weekend. Was originally set up for a former British champion to take over that car, but he was unable to fulfil his obligation, so Charles got the last-minute call-up. Of course, he was in the F3 Asia Series and drove very, very strongly for the High Tech Grand Prix team this weekend in a Black Arts Racing entry. So it's going to be game on. 19 points. Interesting to hear that Rinus VK's view was he may attack for the lead, but he's going to be very, very cautious. Ye Fei will also know that is the case, so he's going to make his car. I'm very, very sure that black and fluoro yellow Absolute Racing Tartus, very, very wide if Rinus gets close to him. But at the moment, based on qualifying in the opening race, no one has been able to shade the performance of Ye Fei, the French-based Chinese driver. Certainly a lot of celebration around Asia for that performance. His 3rd win of the year. He's just one less now from Rinus VK. And what has proven vital in this championship is almost every time he started from pole. In fact, I think each time he started from, no, not every time. He started from position 2 every other time. This is front row start, continuation for the Chinese driver. He has gone on to a very strong finish, and victory this morning will certainly contribute to his hope that he can make this championship go. Left of screen is Ye Fei. Right of screen is Rinus VK. We're off. Looks like Ye Fei has got a great start. Can Rinus get across in front of Jack Doohan? Doohan's going to try and take it down the inside. Now, of course, it's a very hard right into a left-hander. There's a bit of crossover there. You have to hang in pretty tough if you're going to go around the outside. Whoa, a little bit of contact further back. It's another one of the high-tech entries. Is dropped further back down the order. That may have been Ravichanka. Had a nice start, but has been forced wide. That's the thing you got to be very careful of. Coming through turn 3-2, very cautious as wheels go up onto the grass. A little bit of drafting going on. Doohan's up to that. And he's going to try and keep the points leader out wide. Has managed to do that into turn 4. The Australian driver, a nice result. So further back, it's getting very, very interesting. Victor Martins on his debut doing a great job. There he is in a great battle. That is working very, very nicely for him. Number 11 entry. And he is battling very hard with another of the pinnacle entries. But up front, it is definitely out to Yafei. What can he do? We've got some strong sectors going on already for Ravichanka further back. He's shown in position number 7, but look at that lead. He did this morning comfortably off the line, was able to get enough heat into the car. Certainly Absolute Racing have set that car up perfectly to allow him to be able to charge right from the get-go. And once you open that advantage on cold tyres off the start, that is where you can really eke out a lead that is going to be very, very difficult to cut down. When you're talking about tenths of a second over each lap that can be that close, it's going to take a number of laps for his rivals to be able to close in and try and make any kind of impact on that lead of Yafei. Oh, somebody's gone very wide there. I was watching the timing monitors, caught it out of the corner of my eye. That's made things very interesting. So a little bit of a change to the grid. Now, Goretti started this race from position 5. He's currently shown in position 5. So, Yafei, position number 1. Rinus VK up now to position number 2. So, I've missed that whilst we've been going through the order. Jack Doohan in position number 3. Victor Martins position 4. It might have changed, though, because there's certainly a bit of action going on further back. Now, Jack Doohan is in position 2. Sorry, we're looking at the initial starting order in the timing monitor. It's refreshed now. So it's Yafei 2060 off a standing start. Not too bad. Jack Doohan position 2, 1.3 seconds back. Rinus VK position number 3. 1.7 seconds behind the race leader. Isham Pires, great job from him. He's flown up the order up to position number 4. I say that he started in position number 6. Position 5, Akash Nandi, who started from position 9, so he's really forced his way through. So he was the other of the Pinnacle Motorsport entries. There he is. That's the blue and orange entry. That's a famous number 29, which is synonymous with the driver from Malaysia. Back in position number 5, or up to position number 5. Victor Martins now back to position 6. Pavan Ravichanka, oh, very, very wide for Doohan. There's a good bit of runoff there too. I mean, there's a bit of grass. You want to make sure your grip levels are okay when you start doing those things, but he's certainly using all of the circuit. And that's one thing that has been a bit of a highlight, certainly with these Formula 1 and big open style circuits, is the drivers using all of the track limits and sometimes going over those track limits. You do that too much, the stewards will give you a nice little penalty post-race. So that's what can make sometimes getting the provisional result made official. And certainly this morning's race provided all sorts of action. It's only just become an official result, I believe. I've not seen it yet. I do have a starting order and a finishing order from a screenshot last time round, but it is very interesting once you need to try and go through all the elements from race control of things like track limits. So you need to be very careful that they will warn you, but ultimately you use too much of the circuit, just as Jack Doohan did, you could end up finding yourself with a little bit of a holiday at the end of the race. You don't need that. Any time lost in a penalty is time you're not going to be able to get back. Certainly we're talking about eking out tenths per lap. All these cars are identical effectively. It's only the bit of muscle behind the steering wheel that is any different. So you want to make sure that you don't lose advantage to someone else by making a silly decision. Still drivers trying to get tyre temperature up. That looks like one of the super licensed cars further back. Yamaguchi. Now, Charles Leong has dropped back to position 12. There's been a change that lap round. 2:02.4. Certainly track temperature is higher. Humidity is probably a little bit lower than it was this morning. Bright sunlight now. We're into the low 30s. So that is interesting. Now, it looks like I just have at that very moment, thank you to Nikki Kemp, received a update of the championship. I don't have Wi-Fi at the moment. That makes things a little bit challenging. Anyway, moving on. Yafei 2:02.4. So last time around, that's not too bad, but certainly it was comfortably into the low 2:01s last time around. He's put a couple of wheels off down at that part of the circuit too. That just looks like it's down at turn 6 rather on the outside. So got to be careful doing anything like that. They're coming down to turn number 9 now. And slightly uphill and around the fast sweeping turn 10 and a tight at turn 11. 1.5 second the advantage over Jack Doohan Renus VK is half a second back. The man on screen, the number 11 entry, is position number 6. That's Victor Martins. Behind his teammate, Akash Nandi now. He's dropped a little bit back. It's only 7/10, keeping in fairly close company. Champieris is showing just how well the Absolute Racing team, based here locally too. Fabien Fior doing a lot of work with the young guys in the open wheelers, in the Tata chassis, has managed to get those guys going very nicely. So currently for Absolute Racing, positions number 1 and 4. They qualified 1 and 2 for the first race. Second qualifying session. I've got that somewhere around the place. No, I've misplaced that. Certainly they were right there. Now the number 7 entry is in pit lane, and unfortunately for Vivian, there's Davide Rizzo, very experienced campaigner, the Italian in all manner of things, guiding the team. The Black Arts Racing operation do a lot for driver development in this part of the world. And Vivian Kiste, unfortunately, having a tough run, the Hungarian driver. Probably not achieved what she set out to achieve, but any of these miles in these cars is nothing like repetition and doing laps. So whilst you think perhaps the result isn't what I wanted, you're going into potentially a European season, not having been full of cake and all sorts of celebration. You're race fit, you've done miles, and that could give you the advantage over some of your rivals. So this is very, very important, not just for this part of the world and this championship, but also for the development of young drivers, because this is a feeder category ultimately to the likes of Formula 1, WEC, top level of GT racing, DTM, all those sorts of things. There's nothing better than getting miles, and the bulk of this field, we were going through it earlier, are teenagers. 21, you're a veteran in this field. In fact, we're talking about Akash Nandi being a bit of an old boy. He's only 22 years of age. He's done a lot of mileage in a lot of different cars in this part of the world. And frustrating, I'm sure, for him to have been eliminated in that opening race. 2.5 seconds now, 2:01.9. Perhaps defies what we were talking about earlier, that the pace of the cars might just be down a little bit based on the performance in the opening race. Low 2:01s, back-to-back 2:01.1s, about lap 2 and 3 for Yayi Fei. It's done 2:01.9, so let's not get too excited. But next best, 2:02.8 is in fact his teammate, and also a 2:02.8 for Victor Martins. We go back to Jack Doohan, 2:02.9 last time round, 2:03.2 for Renus VK, who's now 0.8 of a second behind Doohan, because they are part of the high-tech GP operation. Of course, they came away after a fairly dominant season of Formula 3 Asia Series with the title. Took Jake Hughes too to a lot of victories, and they really have been a standout, as they are in open wheel development formula in Europe. The UK-based team have been instrumental in a lot of driver development in this part of the world. 3 seconds now the lead, 2:02.3 last time round for Yayi Fei. He's doing everything he needs to do. This is another 10 points. How would that be if he takes another? Well, actually, it's not. I'm sorry. Jack Doohan, by virtue of being a guest driver, there's 6 of them this weekend that haven't competed in the full championship. They do not achieve championship points. So that's the big difference. So whilst he finished 6th in the first race, Renus VK was credited with 3rd position points. So that's why he would take away 15 points as opposed to Yayi Fei's 25. So the deficit was 10. Currently, despite the fact he's 3rd on track, he's actually going to be credited with 2nd points. So that brings the deficit down to 7 points. Goes into the last round. If it finishes this way, I don't want to put the commentator's curse on the race leader because he's done everything right today. Yayi Fei would carry a 12-point provisionally, a 12-point advantage into the last race. Now, that's the difference between positions 1 and about 4, I think, in order to give Yayi Fei the championship. So Renus VK doesn't need to do anything dramatic. He doesn't need to be concerned about the fact that he's dropping back each lap on the Chinese driver. What he needs to do is just focus on line and length. Unfortunately, the first race he was doing exactly that, sitting comfortably in 3rd. Alessandro Gueretti dive-bombed him at turn 4. No disrespect to Gueretti. He needed to. He was in the championship chase. There were 75 points up for grabs this weekend. 60 points in it between Renus VK and his teammate Alessandro Gueretti. So Gueretti had to do something dramatic. He thought he saw an opening. He gave it everything he had. The two of them clashed. Locked wheels, unfortunately for Gueretti, that forced him into retirement. That ended his championship assault. So at the moment, the best he can achieve is 3rd. The race comes down to the battle between Yayi Fei and Renus VK for the championship. 19 points coming into this one. At the moment, if it ends this way, there'll be 12 points going into tomorrow morning's final race. Big dive up the inside. Oh, that was a nice move. Charles Leong, the all-pink entry. Well, it's not all-pink, it's a Black Arts Racing entry, so it's a mix of pink or magenta, if you like, and black. He's not doing too badly. He's in position number 11. And Pavan Ravichenko, if I just go back to the race results, having trouble downloading. If I go back to the starting positions, then he started from position 8. So Ravichenko not getting along so well, unfortunately. Competing in the British F3 Championship last year. And from Singapore. He's a little bit further back in the field, and going into the championship points coming into this event, he was in position number 6, but able to potentially move forward on both Akash Nandi and Tomoki Takahashi, the three of them covered by just a single point. That's changed as a result of the last race. We haven't had an updated championship point score purely because of the fact there were so many things they had to address after that first race, one of them including this man. And that, of course, is the man currently leading the championship, second position in this race, and that is Rinus VK. Have there been team orders? Will Jack Doohan, who is invited into the high-tech team this weekend, driving as part of the Red Bull junior team, as was Dan Ticktum, will he be invited to perhaps move out of the way just to give a little bit more of an edge? Well, no, he doesn't need to, does he? Because he's not up for championship points. Hello, Sean. We've just had that discussion. Have you forgotten it already? Anyway, Ye Fei continues to lead. 3.5 seconds now. Still punching out laps in the 202s. Jack Doohan last time around at 202.8. The only other one in the 202s was a 202.999 for Victor Martins, which is coming up on screen there. Now, he's got back past Akash Nandi. There's been a position change for the two Pinnacle Motorsport entries. So the black and orange entry is Martins. The black and blue entry, the number 29, is Akash Nandi. So frustration again for the Malaysian driver. But anyway, he will be hoping to regroup on that. But certainly a journeyman, a young man from Malaysia. He's done a lot of driving in a lot of different cars over the years. And has proven worthy of each of those that he's done, but usually just competes in part championships. So unfortunately, as a result of that, unable to attack the top of the championship leaderboard because he's usually subbing in one car or another. And here he is in this championship and has been very strong, but unfortunately has had to very much play second fiddle to the high-tech GP team, as they did in the F3 Asian Series. Everyone's, geez, that was very wide. That was the 15 entry of Pires, who went terribly, terribly wide on the exit. That time around, he had all four wheels well over the curb. So he needs to be a little bit careful of that. No doubt the team have taught him about that. It's not so much track limits in that case. It's very much about grip levels. So the grass in with that concrete too, so you just need to be very, very careful. Good battle further back. That's the 31 of Christian Lundgaard and Joey Alders. Both of them are rookies in this race. They're not scoring championship points. So there were 6 new additions to the field for this weekend. Victor Martins in the Pinnacle Motorsport number 11 entry. Jack Doohan, who's currently second in this race, in the number 17 high-tech Grand Prix entry. Then we go down to Joey Alders in the Black Arts Racing number 23. Christian Lundgaard, we're just talking about in the Pinnacle Motorsport entry, the number 31. Charles Leong coming back into championship, well, coming back into an open wheel category in Asia. He competed in the F3 Asian Series this year. This is the Asian Winter Series, driving for Black Arts. And the last entry is Miki Kiyama, who's in the W Series running for the championship. It begins this year, an all-female championship using cars very similar to this. So this is valuable miles for the Japanese driver. Oh! That's a nice move. That's Goretti battling very, very hard with Akash Nandi. And he's managed to squeeze up there into position and takes away position number 6. So that was very tight, but shows that the French licensed driver is working very, very hard. For Goretti, he's got a big season ahead of him. He will go from being the Southeast Asia champion of F4 into a Sauber junior team in Europe. So that's nice to be part of an operation that has ties to Formula One, because there's a couple of those in this field. We're talking about Jack Doohan. He's part of a Red Bull Junior team. Dan Ticktum, very much tipped as a potential driver that would go through to potentially Formula One. You've got Renault Sport Academy drivers in Victor Martins and also Christian Lundgaard. So this very much is a breeding ground for those drivers, and for a championship for the Asian Winter Series to be operational this time of year when it's very much holiday season in Europe, partly because of the conditions, this is a perfect way to kick off your season race ready. And we're talking about it this morning. There are a lot of people watching this race and these young drivers, because very much these are the drivers that we are likely to see at the top level of world motorsport in 3 to 5 years. Potentially you could see an entry in this field. Certainly, you go back to the start of the year, we talk about Ticktum, who's a 2-time winner of the Macau Grand Prix. And let's not forget the drivers like Senna and Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg have all been at the front of the field, all winners of past Macau Grand Prix. That is a good indication you're a serious driver, and Ticktum has won that race twice. Had a tough run here, but he certainly is in line to be one of those drivers that would go through to Formula One. So this is a good litmus test for a championship year ahead as to the performance of those young drivers. And it's very interesting being an Australian, and with a name like Doohan and the son of a 5-time world champion in Mick Doohan, Jack Doohan is doing a very, very nice job in position number 2. Rinus VK, well, he doesn't really need to move through to second, because in the championship, so far as the points are considered today, he is currently second in this race. So why risk anything trying to fire down the inside of Jack Doohan? The advantage he would take into the final race tomorrow will be 12 points. And if he finishes in second again, he will become the inaugural champion of the Asian Winter Series, even if ultimately Ye Fei comes away with a win this afternoon and another win tomorrow. That would effectively give him 5 from 9. Rinus VK with 4 from 9 could be the champion. Let's not go too far into the future. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm touching wood because I don't want to give anybody any kind of commentator's curse. It happens far too often. But they are both doing very, very stout jobs. And the fact that they have dominated the front of this field since the start of this season, even despite the likes of drivers like Schumacher, Ticktum, Doohan, some big names, they have managed to weather that storm and been right at the front of this championship. So halfway through, more than halfway through now, 12 minutes to go. Ye Fei leads by 4.3 seconds. This is exactly what he did last time round. He's doing exactly the same thing. The blueprint is there. It's set. He's leading comfortably. Jack Doohan in second. Rinus VK comfortably in position 3. Etienne Perez is 8 tenths behind VK, who's dropped to actually 2.1 seconds back from Jack Doohan now. You can see it on screen. And Victor Martins is coming quite quickly. He's a second back. So there's 2 seconds covering positions number 3, 4 and 5, which is Rinus VK, Etienne Perez and Victor Martins. So Alessandro Gueretti is in position number 6, having taken Akash Nandi last time around. We saw that move. Aggressive, but hey, this is racing. We're not here to play tiddlywinks. Probably don't even know what tiddlywinks is. That's just showing how old I am. I'm sure I'm getting a laugh or two from some parts of the world. But certainly we're not here to focus on being gentlemanly or ladylike. This is racing. This is serious racing. We do make that point, obviously, categorising the fact that these are open wheelers, and you can't really, and you don't really want to be, knocking wheels or knocking side pods in these cars very wide on the exit. That was a little bit of a squirrely move for Pieris, and the second of the Absolute Racing entries just on the exit. There's been many a car has come off on that part of the circuit coming out of turn 2 and the run into turn 3. A couple of wheels off into the grass and around you go. Fortunately, it hasn't been too much wet weather. Traditionally, you see that, and certainly in the previous event here at Sepang International Circuit, there was an absolute deluge. In fact, 90 minutes of torrential rain, which separated the very end of a Formula 3 race and the TCR Malaysia race that was immediately following. So they were lucky to actually cross the line before the rain fell. That is one of the risks, but there hasn't been that much rain around in the last couple of days. So the outfield, fortunately for them, is dry, so they're able to just push that limit a little bit further, drop the wheels over the curb, and fortunately without too much drama. We haven't seen too much incident apart from what was on track in the first race. It's been very comfortable and clean through practice, and this has been very much a sign of the way things have gone with Ye Fei and Rinus VK running there strongly. For Jack Doohan, his first sighting of the car was Thursday, and he had a chance to turn some laps, and he has been progressing subject to that is the fact he's currently in position 2, although he admitted earlier that he just couldn't get close enough to Ye Fei, and he's finding the same thing. But he has been very much learning this car. This is new to him. He has been over in the UK, and in fact this year he was the leading rookie in the F4 British Championship, so not long out of go-karts. He's only 16 years of age. He's got some big boots to fill, a bit like David Schumacher, but he's equally up to the task and has been very, very strong. Great to see Mick Doohan down there supporting his son. Certainly he has been a superstar for world motorsport too, and really did lay the foundations for Australians' challenge on the world stage. And it's nice to see someone like Ye Fei really paving the way as a young driver who's been very, very good at just 18 years of age. Okay, so he spends a lot of time in Europe. That's where you need to be to develop your skill as a racing driver. He has been waving the flag very, very proudly, so much so you'll see him on the podium. If he gets there, touch wood, there's 8 and a bit minutes to go, he will be standing there proudly with the Chinese flag. So this is good for the region. It's just what we need to see is somebody for that big market worldwide of potential motorsport fans in China being proud of one of their own standing at the top of a major championship that does have a big impact on the coming season. So nice to see that. And there's a little bit of quiet celebration in the back of the paddock from a number of people for that 3rd win of the year for Ye Fei, and this would be an equaliser. So there'll be 4 wins potentially for Ye Fei to match Rinus VeeKay if he can manage to complete this last 8 minutes in the position he holds, which at the moment is 5.4 seconds down the road from Jack Doohan. Car number 1 is Alessandro Gueretti, unfortunately involved in that incident at turn 4 in race 1 with Rinus VeeKay. Not sure of what an ultimate penalty may or may not have been from that. But certainly, I think, a racing incident. I'm certainly not the arbiter of what the race results are or should be. So I wouldn't go down that path of suggesting who was right and who was wrong. I still can't get the official results through, unfortunately. But he had to make a move. Yes, disappointing. I'm sure he was disappointed, but really he didn't have a lot more choice if he wanted to figure into the final 2 races of the year. He had to move up on the 2 drivers he was fighting for championship points. One of those was Rinus VeeKay, so he had to try and make something stick. Unfortunately, it didn't. Well, what did stick was the 2 cars together, so probably not a popular move for the Hi-Tech GP team. No doubt there were a few words spoken afterwards, but racing is racing. So we're here to compete. Sometimes, unfortunately, incidents do happen, and that does have an impact on results and championships and obviously moods. So anyway, now Miki Kiyama has just started to drop down the order. That's not a good sign. Let's hope she hasn't had any drama. Car 81, 2nd time on track limits. Now car 81 is Tomoki Takahashi from Super License. So he has just been given a bit of a rap across the knuckles. No doubt he will be advised that he is pushing things. It's track limits like that one. Car 11, Victor Martin's pushing hard, and he's closing in again on Purus, so there's not much separating the two of them. In fact, 0.3 of a second. No sense even mentioning it as we've got that side view. Obviously, the long shot's difficult to judge just how many car lengths, but once you get to that side view, you can see just how close it is. What does he have? He finished strongly in the first race. In fact, finished 3rd in race 1. So Victor Martins would be hoping to try and emulate that. He too has a good season ahead of him. Formula Renault Euro Cup, top rookie last year. And 2nd in the French Formula 4 Championship in 2017. So he has a good heritage too in the sport. Just 17 years of age, part of the Renault Sport Academy alongside his teammate in that respect, and that is Christian Lundgaard, who he's only a young man too. In fact, Lundgaard, 17 years of age, the two of them, not separated by much in age. Now, here is a move. This could be interesting. What does Purus have? Ooh, maybe not too much. The pace is very, very strong. Victor Martins, and he's got the crossover. He's done it. He's pulled that off famously. Now, what he's trying to do is just break the slipstream. Aerodynamic's a big thing in these open wheelers. You don't have so much power, but you can really use that slipstream to advantage on occasion, because the other thing that those big wings do is they actually create what they call dirty air, which makes it very difficult to suck in too close behind. That is part of the scenario, so you've got to find a way past based on ability sometimes, more so than being able to get a drag, pushing through the air. The front car will push a big hole in the air. That reduces the friction effectively and the work that the car following has to do until it pulls out into the air again. A little complicated. I'd rather have a whiteboard and a pen to explain how that all works, but effectively that's what aerodynamics is about. The rear car can effectively go faster than the front car because it's not punching the hole through the air so much. It is a little bit of an opportunity, but also the air becomes turbulent when you get too close to the car in front. That is heat. That is also the air being pushed around the aerodynamics, and part of the design of the car also is to make sure that you don't allow that opportunity for the car behind to use that to your advantage. So it can be both an advantage and a disadvantage to get too close to the car in front. So you often hear the drivers saying, well, I got into that dirty air and there wasn't much I could do. So that's potentially correct. But part of the reason that we're at a circuit like Sepang, an F1 designed circuit by Hermann Tilke, the German engineer who's designed so many of the top circuits around the world for Formula One over many years, and certainly the bulk of the circuits in the Asian region that have been set up for Formula One, is that they are very much about high to mid-speed corners. So they're fast sweeping corners. That's all about carrying speed. That's where you find the difference between a gentleman driver, an amateur driver, and or a lady driver, and a professional driver. It's the ability to carry that speed through the mid to high speed corners that sets the two apart. So straight line speed doesn't mean anything. Anybody can drive within reason, quick in a straight line. Black and white flag for car 81, abuse of track limits. Well, there we go. We were talking about that. You do it too many times. And for Tomoki Takahashi, unfortunately, currently in position number 10, that wrap across the knuckles could potentially see him penalised post-race, or that could well be a drive-through. We'll see how that one plays out. But frustration for him. Ye Fei, no frustration, 7.2 seconds. Well, 2 safety car interventions in the opening race actually impacted his ability to keep stretching his lead, so we never really saw what he was capable of doing. This time round, fortunately, with 2 and a bit minutes to go, no safety car interventions, and Ye Fei is now more than 7 seconds down the road on Jack Doohan. Rinus VK, there it is, we were talking about it. Car 81, the white and black, abusing track limits. And there is the number 85 entry of Miki Kiyama, who we were talking about earlier. She's in the W Series all-female open wheel championship that will kick off this year. She's in the final group that is going through to the next stage. So it's a good result for her. And this is her first run, of course, as Kyojo Cup Female 1 Make Series in Japan. She's been very strong in and has done some F4 in her home country as well. So it'd be nice to see her progression, and BMAX Racing have been, or BMAX themselves have been very supportive of young talent too around the world, and great to see Dragon out there running around. He's in currently, he's in car number, get my head right around it again, car number 13, back in position number 15. So immediately on track behind Miki Kiyama. Up front, the number 16, well, we should be down to last lap, and there it is. Well, this would be a equaliser with respect to number of race wins this year for Ye Fei. This is certainly a turn up for the books, because for the first event in Thailand and a month ago here at Sepang in Malaysia, the first 2 races of the weekend were won by Rinus VK. This has very much been flipped on its head. Now, VK's still there. He's 11.4 seconds back. Hasn't had the pace. 2:03.6 last time round. He's best at 2:02.8. For Ye Fei, 2:01.99. 7/10 faster than anybody else. And for Ye Fei, he will start race 3, which comes tomorrow morning. Please join us for that one. That starts at 10:20 a.m. Malaysian time. He will start that one too from pole position. And that will be game on for the championship. The way it stands at the moment, it's likely to be a 12-point deficit. Keep up to date with the social media platforms and also with the website. Search for the Asian Winter Series and all the information will come up. And there'll be plenty of noise, news rather than plenty of noise. There's plenty of noise in the back of the paddock at the moment, as people are very excited about the performance of this young man, Ye Fei, who has got a promising season ahead of him based on his performance in the Asian Winter Series, and to be on target for his 4th win of the year, equaling his title rival Rinus VK, is a great result for day 1. There's one more day left in this inaugural championship, We're all looking very forward to how that one plays out tomorrow. Put my teeth back in. Yai Fei comfortably leading. Jack Doohan second. Renus VK third. Victor Martin's position 4. Ishan Pires. Alessandro Gueretti in position number 6. Akash Nandi back to position 7. Christian Lundgaard has moved up to position number 8. Joey Alder's position 9. Takahashi, who's got that wrap over the knuckles for using excess circuit, is in position number 10. But we need to look at the final corner. This is it. 2 from 2. 4 from 8. And well may he celebrate the Absolute Racing driver for his 4th victory of the year, his 2nd today, and what a way to close out this championship. That closes down the points. Jack Doohan across the line for position 2, 7.6 seconds back. Renus VK will take position number 3. Victor Martin's position number 4. Ishan Pires will finish in position number 5, the Sri Lankan driver. Position number 6, Alessandro Gueretti. He is out of this championship hunt. It's a 2-driver race now between Yai Fei and Renus VK. Position 7, Akash Nandi. Position 8, Christian Lundgaard. Position 9, Joey Alders. Position number 10 to Tomoki Takahashi. We'll see what happens with that post-race. There may well be a penalty in that respect. Pavan Ravichandran, who started from position number 8, finishes in position number 11. And Charles Leong will finish in position number 12. Position 13, Toroku Yamaguchi. Position 14, Miki Kiyama. And position 15, Moriyoshi Yoshida. Position 16, unfortunately, oh no, she has finished, by the way, 11 laps back, is Vivian Kiste. So we take a look back shortly at how this one played out, but nice to see start to finish, no safety car intervention, and there it is. It really has opened up this championship, and that's going to make things very, very interesting for tomorrow's race. Make sure you join us 10:20 a.m. Malaysian time. Tomorrow will be the final round of the championship. There is positions 11 through 16. It may be that Vivian Kiste has managed to carry on. Looks like she has, in fact, posting sector times, so that's good news. So the team got the car out because she was into pit lane fairly early in that race. So what a finish. Absolute Racing can well be proud. Positions 1 and 5. They were 1 and 4 at one stage. Victor Martins has moved back up the order. Nice result too for High Tech GP, of course. They're still leading this championship points. Jack Doohan second for the 2nd time today. A nice result for the young Australian, just 16 years of age for the Red Bull Junior team. He's a potential star of the future. Make Australians very, very happy and very, very proud. Renus VK keeps his championship points lead alive. It should be about 12 points now, so 7 points should be the deficit. Again, this is provisional. There was a 19-point deficit between Yai Fei and Renus VK coming into this race. 7 points back in advantage to the Chinese driver. My mathematics tells me that would be 12 points the difference. And, well, that's 25, 18, 16, 14. So, yeah, there's a bit of work to do, and really, if Renus VK can keep doing what he's doing, again, Jack Doohan doesn't record championship points, then this is very much going to be in the Dutch driver's favour. And he's done a good job. Unfortunately for Yai Fei, brilliant drive. The unfortunate part is he had a technical issue in the opening race and was forced to have a DNF. And despite the fact there was a contact between Renus VK and Alessandro Gueretti in the opening race this morning, fortunately for Renus VK, he was able to carry on. Unfortunately for Gueretti, he was forced to retire from that race. So for VK, that was important, because he would otherwise have dropped well down in the championship points. So no DNF is important, yeah, and that is a great celebration. Brilliant drive, Yai Fei, 4th win of the year, and he's right in the mix. We'll hear from him very, very shortly with Feline down on the grid. The team just congratulating him. Absolute Racing based here, as well as Zhuhai in China, here in Sepang. They have a factory and a strong operation, and very much this is where they run their open wheel operation from. So they will be celebrating their 4th win, 2 of the year, and moving back into, well and truly into championship contention. Let's take a look back at how the second race, the 8th race of the season, played out. Well, we might actually be down to Feline down there on the grid. You can see her just trying to grab Ye Fei's attention. And we will hear a little bit from him and how that race has played out. Replay, here we go, the highlights and the pole sitter, Ye Fei, after that victory earlier in the fastest lap in race 1. That put him on pole position. Jack Doohan and Rinus VK battling over position 2. The young Australian having the inside run was able to keep VK out. He was using all of the circuit too, needed to be very, very careful. A couple of drivers getting a wrap across the knuckles for driver limits. That was Charles Leong battling further back against Tomoki Takahashi, who was one of the drivers penalised for exceeding track limits. There is Rinus VK sitting comfortably in position 3. There's nothing he could do about Ye Fei, who just drove away again from the pack. Very, very hard run through for Alessandro Gueretti after his tough opening race. Pushed his way through on Akash Nandi, took away position number 6. Jack Doohan very comfortably in position 2, the 16-year-old doing a great job. And he would take his second runner-up position for the day. Now 15 battling, that is Champ battling with Victor Martins, who ultimately would take the position and move up to 4th for the Pinnacle Motorsport operation. There's no denying the winner, 4th win of the year, Ye Fei. Well worth celebration. He takes a big advantage from that, but still potentially, provisionally 12 points back.
今天拿到了又back to back 的2个冠军。那么我想问一下，就是你在比赛的时候有没有想到你的自己的那个 overall championship points 呢？
想到什么
？overall championship points 就是你的那个整赛季的积分情况。
肯定有想，因为我获得冠军是我在我力所能及里能取得最好的成绩，但是还要取决于对手他们的成绩表现。然后，因为这场比赛有一个新规则，就是这场光跑有很多车手从欧洲来的，只跑这一站，然后这些车手虽然怎么说可以正常完赛，但是他们不积分。所以怎么说？就比如说今天刚才这场比赛第2名完赛的车手，他只是新来跑的，然后虽然他获得第2名，但是他不积分，所以等于说我最大的积分榜对手即使获得第3名，但也能取得第2名的分数。所以即使我今天两场比赛都获得了冠军，但是对积分榜来说还是怎么说有一点难。明天的话我还是刚位起步，然后这周末比赛目前为止我们的速度都很快，我们今年比赛两场比赛都证明了这一点。我相信明天我会做我力所能及最好的，就是获得冠军，然后希望看我们能不能有一些怎么说好运吧，能不能获得年度冠军。
好，加油！好，I just asked Ye Yifei, have he think about the overall championship points during the race? He said it's not just up to him; it's also up to his competitors. Also, for him, the main goal is just to win the race. And also because there's new rules for this round, the guest drivers don't get the points, which means even Renault VK finish 3rd, but he still gets the points at the second. So it's very hard for Ye Yifei to keep a gap on the overall points, but he will try to win the 3rd race for tomorrow.
That's all he can do, and we spoke about that during the course of the coverage. His focus is to make sure he wins every race. He can't control what happens behind that. So really, this is down to Ye Yifei tomorrow, and whatever happens with Rinus VK, he's done his best. If he gets the 5th win of this year, brilliant. He can take that away and be proud of it. Unfortunately, as we said, it was the DNF in the first round that really put him behind the 8 ball. Anyway, that's it for today. Please stay with us. We will go through to the podium, and then we will have a bit of a debrief and, of course, go through to the press conference to see what the drivers have to say. For me, that's it. And we'll join us again tomorrow, please, as we go down to the final race of the 2019 Asian Winter Series, the inaugural season, 10:20 Malaysian time. Don't miss that one, because it's all going to come down to one race.
I mean, to do the best I can to secure another win, and yeah, maybe wish the luck will be on our side for tomorrow. So, because yeah, the additional regulation that came this weekend, which means that those drivers who came here first time, they don't score points, and that doesn't really help for our title bid. So yeah, I think we just try to keep what we have been doing until now, and yeah, see by the end of tomorrow how things goes.
Yeah, well, Yifei's driving exceptionally well. So I think we might have found a little bit, but still not enough. So gonna push, see what the guys, my teammates as well, were quick again that race. So if we can put it all together, then hopefully find a bit more. But we're gonna have to push hard. The race was not too bad. I got another decent start, not as jumpy as the first one, but still good enough to then get into P2, and then just waited for the tyre to really come to me. Didn't want to over push at the start because it's a lot hotter. So then about half race distance, we started just to separate that gap a little bit between me and Renus, and then I got into a rhythm and was just able to build on it, but unfortunately not catch Yifei. But all in all, you know, it's good. Some more experience, so I'm happy.
Yeah, thank you. I was, yeah, especially now racing with the championship in mind, because it's getting pretty close now, and Yifei is really quick this weekend. So I think from second place, I could maybe challenge from the start for the first place, but yeah, Jack took a little bit of risk, and yeah, I let him go as a teammate, and I had the fact in my mind that the invitation drivers for this weekend don't get points, so I just went behind him, and actually I did quite a hard race. Was fighting the car all the time, but yeah, I think as a team and as a driver, I learned a lot, and we can evaluate from now. Yeah, in the race before, I had a really good start from P5 to P3, and then some restarts, and the last restart, I saw one chance to overtake Jack on the insides from turn 1 and outside turn 2. But I bottomed out on the exit, so I had a bad run coming to turn 4. And then my teammate, Alessandro Giretti, came on the outside. And yeah, then on the exit of turn 4, we collided. And he didn't finish the race then. And yeah, I got to continue with quite a lot of damage, but still finished. So, well, at least the invitation drivers don't get points. And I think this was my first crash in a race ever, so in 80 races. So I think, yeah, there has to be a first one, and better make that the one.
Last question. Are you feeling the pressure with a small gap, and how do you deal with it?
There is a lot of pressure actually for the last race, but I think I've been in a lot of pressure the last 2 seasons in the United States, so I can kind of keep cool, and if I just keep doing what I'm doing, there won't be any big issues. So just do what I have to do.
Thank you very much, and yeah, give us a good race tomorrow. We'll fight for it. Thank you.
Gentlemen, group photo, if you could stand up and at the back.
Move it out. Come forward. Okay, good. Excellent.
All right, welcome to the press conference of the top two finishers of the Masters class of Sepang round 3, race 2. Congratulations, Yamaguchi. Quick question, what was your problem in the first race and how did you get on for this race?
まず第1レースに関しましては、ちょっとビビアン選手がちょっとこうスピンしてしまったところに避けきれずに、いい視点とっていう形で突っ込んでしまって、非常にちょっとこう、もったいないレースになってしまったんですけれども、ピーナックルレーシングチームと BMAX レーシングチームのメカニックの皆さんが必死にマシンを直していただいて、でレース2にもうギリギリで出れる状況になって、本当集中してしっかりレース走ろうと思って、車は本当にまだちょっと完璧な感じではなかったんですけれども、しっかりレースは臨めて、本当にメカニックの皆さん、チームの皆さんに感謝しております。本当にありがとうございます。
The first race, I contact with the Vivian, so Vivian spun in front of me, then he came to just in front of me. I couldn't avoid to contact her. So the car had a quite big damage. So the BMAX Racing and Pinnacle Motorsports, the whole guys work hard to repair my car. So the car just on time before start the second race got fixed. So then I really feel thanks to the other guys, and then I pushed hard and did my best. But car wasn't perfect, something wasn't perfect, but therefore the pace wasn't good. But I keep managed my position, so finally I could win this race. So I'm happy. Thank for all guys.
Okay, thank you very much. Another question. Looks like you won the championship for the Asian Winter Series, and will you join the main Formula 3 series this year?
はい、メインシリーズの方を本当に集中して、マスタークラスももちろんですけれども、できるだけ、上位の方でフィニッシュできるようにこれからも精一杯努力しようと思います。ありがとうございます。
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm happy to be a champion for the Winter Series. So we already have a plan to join the main series for this season. So of course in the Masterclass, but not only the Masterclass, even the overall position as better as possible. I try my best for the main series. I can look forward to join the main series.
All right, thank you very much. And to Yoshida-san, for you, how was this race? You had another competitor to race against. How was it for you?
非常に楽しく走ることができました。ただ暑さと、30分間耐えなきゃいけないっていう辛さはありましたけれども、完走することができまして、こうやって2位にさせていただけたことに関してはすごく感謝しておりますし、協会と、チームに本当に感謝しております。ありがとうございます。
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. So enjoyed the race, but the race condition was quite hot, and the 30 minutes race was quite long for me. But finally I could stay on the track and finish second. To be here, I really enjoy and happy, and then thankful to the whole championship organizer and teams. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, this is all for today's race 8 in Sepang International Circuit. Tomorrow here in the morning, we still have the season finale race, so stay with us. 那么刚刚呢进行的是第8回合的比赛，明天呢会进行第9回合，也就是这个赛季的最后一回合的比赛，请大家不要走开。